What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte, and it is time for our monthly market report. Interesting stuff as you would expect in regards to the real estate market. New listings are up again year over year. However, for the month of September, the pending sales are almost double the amount of new listings that we had, but closed sales are down again year over year. So before we get into the stats and the actual numbers behind all of this, I want to give you guys my take and what I'm currently seeing in this real estate market. Now, I don't know if I'm talking too much during these market reports, but typically, September through January, February, those are the winter months. It's the holiday months. A lot less buyers are in the market during those times. And with that, you do have a lot less new listings on the market as well. But usually it's a really good time to buy because prices tend to go down. And as the number of buyers tend to go down, you don't have as much competition in the real estate market. And I feel like a lot of people are starting to pick up on this because the activity for September and so far in October has definitely been ramping up. Now, in all honesty, I don't know if that's just me because this is my favorite time to buy. When people ask for recommendations on time to buy and if their timeline matches up with the fall and winter, I always recommend it if they're able to do it. So me personally, the last 3 clients I'm helping, one house we got for at asking price, another house we went $5,000 above asking price, and then the third house we just got $15,000 below the listed price. But that all goes to say right now, everything is 50-50. When is the right time to buy? When is this? You guys know my answer on that. The right time to buy is when it's right for you personally. And obviously that's going to vary from person to person. But as far as the market and as far as the activity, there is no telling. You can have one house pop up in a neighborhood and it has multiple offers and it sells within 2 to 3 days. And then you can have a very similar house in the same neighborhood come on the market a couple of weeks later or a month later, and it could sit on the market for 1 to 2 to 3 months. Which brings me to my next point. Right now, buyers have a lot more options than we've had. And once we go over the inventory, you'll see that the inventory jumped as well, which typically, again, tends to go down during this time of year. However, sellers also have a lot more competition, their neighbors. If you look at any community, if you just pull up Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, if you look at any community that has over 100 houses, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be at least 5 houses listed on the market at any given time. My neighborhood, we have just over 200 homes and we have 7 houses listed on the market with 3 of those pending and 4 still available. During the market, when it was at the height of the market, all you had was 15 to 20 buyers waiting for a house to pop up in a neighborhood. And when it did, that's when you got 20, 30 plus offers and those crazy above asking offers. Right now, you have a ton of more options available for you. And again, sellers are having to compete more because their neighbor's house, once it closes, that is a new standard for the neighborhood. So if it closes above asking or a really high price, you can expect that neighbor to also ask potentially above unless the condition doesn't warrant it. But as things continue to decrease as far as closed sales, and as we start to see more listings, there's a lot more competition, which should put some downward pressure on the prices. Now, in that same regard, bigger communities, 500 plus homes, master plan communities, even more options available to you. I'm going to show you guys 2 communities. One of them is going to be Millbridge in Waxhaw, which I did a video. I'll post it right here for you. And it is a master plan community. You have a couple thousand homes in that neighborhood. So currently in Millbridge, there are 21 houses listed on the market and 6 of them are pending and 15 of them are still active. Another master plan community that you guys have heard me talk about for a very long time is Highland Creek in the 28269 zip code. In Highland Creek, you have 37 listed houses. 18 of them are pending, and 19 of those houses are active. So you have more options. Sellers are competing with each other, and the market is just all around better, especially for buyers now than it was before. But that brings me to my next point. The houses that are selling a lot faster are the more unique homes. It's not kind of your cookie cutter in new construction communities and things like that. There's so many houses, if you look online, newer construction built within the last couple of years, that you can almost find anytime, or there's no rush to get to it to put in an offer, because there's a very, very high likelihood that that same house or very, very similar house is going to pop up within the next month or so. So a lot of the houses that I'm seeing that are selling very fast tend to be a lot more unique, tend to be super updated, great floor plans, big lots, big backyards. You kind of get my drift where I'm going with this. The standard house, so to say, is taking a lot longer to sell just because they're so readily available. One more thing I want to touch on is the interest rate debate. So many people said if the interest rates drop 1%, all hell's going to break loose, and buyers are going to start flooding the market again. It's going to be crazy multiple offers. But unfortunately, that is not happening. That is not happening at all. Even though there still are a lot of active buyers, people are just taking their time right now. And right now, interest rates, the national average for interest rates is 6.25%. Now listen, that can vary drastically depending on your down payment and your credit score. I've seen people recently get quoted above 7% based off of credit, and I even have a client right now that is able to lock in a 5.7% interest rate. However, the national average is around 6.25% as of right now. However, the national average in October of 2023 was 7.89%. Rounded up to 8%. And again, that can be higher and or lower depending on certain factors. So if we're at 6.25% right now on average, and last October we were at almost 8%, that is a 1.7% decline in interest rates, and the market hasn't picked up as much as people thought it would. All hell hasn't broken loose. It's still relatively flat. And I think this is just the new market. Right now, sellers need to be prepped for your house potentially sitting on the market a lot longer. The hot market days are over unless you have one of those unique properties I was talking about. And they're expecting the interest rates to go even lower in 2025. However, I don't see multiple offers, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 above asking price happening, even when that does, because right now our new listing trajectory is going up, up, and up, year over year, month over month, and this is going to continue as we head into spring and summer of 2025. I am almost 100% positive on that. Now, I will say my wife and I submitted an offer on a house 3 weeks ago, $17,000 above asking price, and we did not get it. We were right there. We were very close. But again, this was a unique house. It wasn't a cookie cutter house. It wasn't something that I can find, every 2-3 miles. I can find a new construction neighborhood every 2-3 miles with similar layouts, similar builders, floor plan, updates, all that stuff. All in all, the market, in my opinion, is heading a lot better for buyers than it is heading for sellers. And obviously, we have so much economic things happening that we really don't know what's going to happen. But I think the market is going to stay as it currently is, relatively flat, 50-50. This house pops up, could have a lot of interest. A very similar house pops up a month later, could not have a lot of interest. But with that being said, guys, make sure you're subscribed. And if you have questions about the market, a specific neighborhood, a zip code, anything like that, you can always call, text, or email me anytime. Now let's hop into the actual numbers and see what the data shows us of what's happening in the market. Keep in mind, all the data we go over is from the month of September. We always do it in arrears so we can have an entire month of data. for the most accurate information. So in regards to new listings for the month of September, we had 4,688 new listings. That's a 7.5% increase from this time last year. And if you look at the 2 years prior, you had negative 15.6% decline in new listings. Then you had minus 5.4% in new listings. And again, typically around September is when you start to see the new listings going down. But because the market is shifting, we are not only in positive, but we're positive 7.5% in new listings for the month of September, year over year. Now, this is where it also gets interesting. Pending sales. People have come out of the woodwork in the month of September to secure a house, which typically we also see pending sales go down. Pending sales came in at 3,552. That is a 14.4% increase from this time last year. Similar to new listings, look at the 2 years prior. Pending sales were down almost 31% in 2022 and down 8.7% in 2023. Now we're up 14.4% in pending sales. Now let's talk about closed sales. Pending sales is a house gets on the market, they accept an offer, and they're under contract. Closed sales is actually the home closing and the deed transfers ownership, and you actually get the keys to the house. Closed sales came in at 3,211. That is a 7.3% decrease from this time last year, and this trend is continuing. The previous 2 years were also both in the negatives, but you can see it's a lot better now than it was in 2023 because the interest rates did help a lot of people afford that extra couple $100 savings on their mortgage payment. Now let's get into the exciting part, which is the prices. Average sales price came in at just under $503,000, and that's a 7.1% increase from this time last year in the month of September. Our highest average sales price that we had was in May of this year at $522,000. So from our all-time high, you're looking at us being down about $19,000. But again, in the month of September, typically prices tend to go down. However, this year, they actually went up a little bit. You guys know this by now because you've been watching the channel, but average sales price takes into consideration all prices. So lumped into the average sales price are these multi-million dollar homes that we have here in Charlotte. For a more accurate representation of prices, I like staying in the median price point. Median price point came in at $395,000, and that is a 3.9% increase from this time last year. The highest median price point that Charlotte has ever had was this past July at just over $405,000. So we're down about $10,000 plus from our all-time highs. But again, a lot more buyers in the market in September than there usually are. So that's why you're seeing that median price point go up. Now, I will say there is a lot of wiggle room in the market. And we're going to talk about percentage of the original list price received, which is you can list your house for whatever you want. But at the end of the day, what matters is what somebody is willing to pay for it and what the house closes at. So the percentage of the original list price received came in at 96.3. That is a minus 1.3% decrease from this time last year. This is essentially telling you that on average, you could expect to pay 3.7% below the listed price of a home when it is actually listed versus when it was closed. This is telling you that it's a lot more negotiable on the market now. There's some people, for some reason, that are scared to offer a certain amount less for a home, but take a look at some of the listings in regards to price drops. I've seen $25,000, $50,000+ price drops on houses, and I've even had some where you have $100,000 price drop, but those tend to be in the $1 million+ range. However, they do sometimes happen in that $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 range. But once that does happen, people just automatically gravitate towards that big price drop, and then you potentially end up in a multiple offer situation. but you still have that big chunk that was taken out, and typically you're in a good position. I almost missed out on days on market. Days on market came in at 38, and that is a 31% increase from this time last year. And again, look at the years prior. It keeps going up year after year. This is telling us that houses are sitting a lot longer, which everybody really knows by now. Nobody is more shocked at this stat than sellers because a lot of people are still in that 2022 mindset where people expect their house to sell within the first week or two. Those days, for the most part, for a majority of homes, are gone. You should anticipate a couple of months at least, 1 to 2 months. There's a lot of neighborhoods that are taking 3, 4, 5, even 6 months to sell. But at the end of the day, if you price a house aggressively, it will sell. Last but not least, months of inventory, which came in at 2.7, and that is a 42.1% increase from this time last year. Our new listings are growing year over year, which is causing our inventory to start to accumulate. Now, as the market is going to continue, in my opinion, to shift, we're going to see this number get higher. I think we're going to be over 3 months of inventory coming around springtime. So typically, if you have 3 or less months of inventory, it's considered a seller's market. If you have 3 to 4, in some cases 3 to 5 months of inventory, that's considered a neutral market, where it's really good for buyers, but it's relatively well for sellers as well. Now, if you get 6+ months of inventory, that is when buyers are getting $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 off of asking price. Once they get an inspection, they're able to negotiate a lot of concessions, roof, AC, whatever the case is. That is essentially the complete opposite of what sellers had in 2022 at the height of the market, just switching over on the buy side. I hope this information finds you well, guys. Any questions at all, call, text, or email me anytime. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.